Welcome back everyone to another video, and in this video I'm gonna go through all the reasons why you should not invest in property. And now you might be thinking, what the hell, why is a property guy making a video like this? He should be spruiking property investment. But I'm a realist, guys, and there's a lot of things that can go wrong with property, and I want people, individuals, investors, parents, mom and dads to be well aware of the risks, the pitfalls, and the issues that come with investing in property. It is not all sunshine and rainbows like the buyer's agents propose online, like they show through their advertisements, their marketing and media and etc. No, there are very real risks when it comes to property investment, and I'm going to run through every single component of it. Now, for example, let's take this townhouse property right in front of you that's sold on 15th of June 2026 for $710,000. Let's talk about what actually goes into a property purchase like this and why it may not be as attractive as it may seem for a landlord. And so when we look at a property like this, for case point example, I've put around $700,000. The first thing that makes property investment unattractive is the acquisition costs that go into an investment purchase. Now, yes, there is a saying, it costs money to make money, and that's fine. But unfortunately, there are some costs that literally make no sense, and we wish they were gone, but they are still here. So when we're talking about a property investment purchase for around $700,000, you have a deposit about $140,000, which is no small chunk of change. It's a lot of money to dump into a property, into an asset, in the hope it will continue to grow over the long term. And that's if you have a 20% deposit. If you have a 12% deposit, then you'll need a little bit less. 10% you need less, but it's still going to be in the range of $100,000 or more most of the time to be able to secure a good property in a good location. And so you're going to have to come up with that money. Next is the stamp duty. Now, stamp duty is one of those unrecoverable costs, and it costs a crap ton of money that the government literally siphons from you when you transact on property. Now, do I believe in it? Not really. Is it a good thing? You can argue pros and cons for it and so on. But for a $700,000 property, you will need to pay about $35,000, $40,000 in terms of stamp duty, depending on the state that you're purchasing in, which is a lot of money to hand over the government. This is half of someone's annual salary in Australia, post-tax, by the way. And that is shocking, right? You're paying a lot of money towards an unrecoverable cost, essentially, right? Once you pay this money to the government, you can't get it back. Even if you sell it the next day, you can't get it back. It's gone. It's gone forever. That is stamp duty, right? And so that's a lot of money. Then you have legal fees, which is going to cost you around $3,000 for a property purchase. You've got the settlement fees, you got bank fees. You have a building and pest inspection, which is like $550 all the way up to $1,000, depending on state, region, and company that you go with. You've got cleaning and removal costs that might cost you $500 to $1,000 to clean and maintain the property at the initial point. Then you've got registration fee, transfer fee, initial renovation work could cost you $10,000 or so. It really depends. And when you really sum up all of that cost, right, you've got about $50,000 other additional cost apart from your deposit. So you're all in about $200,000 for a $700K property. And that's a lot of money, and it can make property investment very hard to do. And the further and further we go into the future, the more unreachable property investment becomes for the young people, because as property prices go up, you need a bigger deposit and you need all the other expenses that come with it, and it can make property investment pretty unattractive and really tough. And if you're trying to build a property portfolio, well, you're going to need to replicate that over and over and over again. And yes, you can use equity, but equity is still your money. You're just borrowing it against the bank and the house. So you have to be very careful on how you use it. And so it's not always sunshine and rainbows, because you have to put $200K of your hard-earned money, which is probably 3 or 4 years of after-tax income for an average worker. Now, if you're a dual income person, if you're a dual income household, you can achieve that faster, and there's always the exceptions to the case. But that's reason number one. But let's keep going on from there. When we look at the expenses, this is where it gets a real kick in the butt, because it's not like it's stocks where you just put it into the market and the market just returns 7% annually every year. There are expenses associated with holding a property, and let me list them out for you because it's gonna mind boggle you. First things first, you have home insurance, which is a non-negotiable. You need building insurance on your home. You can get contents insurance, but you absolutely need building and landlord insurance, which is gonna cost you around $1,500 to $2.5 to $3 grand, depending on the state, location, and property type you have, which costs quite a bit of money. Then you have council rates and water rates. Now, of course, you still pay this if you have a PPOR, but you still got to factor it into your analysis. And that's going to cost you anywhere from 2K to about 4 or 5K, again, depending on the state, location and region that you're in. And then you've got the water rates attached with that. And the next thing we have is property management, and this is usually in the range of 6 to 8% and comes out of your rental income every single time you get paid from the rental agency. Usually if you're around 6% on a property at around $500 per week, it's around 1.5K or so. It can go up to 2-3K as well, depending on your rental income and your agency and your agreement. That's a cost you have to factor in. Then you have repairs and maintenance, and yes, you need to repair and maintain your property. Do not be a crappy landlord and have a poor quality property, right? And that's going to cost you around $2,000 a year, I would say, in rough maintenance. Some years you don't have any maintenance at all, which is great, but some years you could have 5-10K in maintenance, and it really depends. So you need a safety cash buffer in place as well. Then you have bank fees. Every year your bank will usually charge an annual fee for being able to have that loan with them, and you have to factor that in. Then you have pest control. You should be doing a pest control inspection on your property every year or so, which will cost you around $200 to $400 per year. But you want to be doing this to maintain your property, make sure there's no termites on your property, and you have a good property. And the biggest thing of them all is interest payments. Now, interest payments is a huge factor, but it's what the banks charge so that you have a loan against the property and you can purchase the property. And that's going to cost you around 40K for a property like this. And it's going to be more or less depending on your property, your interest rate, and so on. And then we got the big kick in the butt. States like Victoria, Tasmania have this, which is land tax. Now, land tax is a cost you have to factor in. Once again, an unrecoverable cost. You just have to pay to the state government, and they take a pretty dime out of your paycheck. If you have an apartment or a townhouse, you'll have strata cost as well, which can be really, really expensive if you buy a poor quality property. So you have to be very careful about it. And then last but not least, you have vacancy period. Now, for those of you who don't know, your tenant might leave your property. So you might have your property vacant for 2 to 4 weeks, which will cost you, in this instant, $500 per week, which means around $1,000 to $2,000, which is money that needs to come out of your pocket to suffice the loan. And so if your head isn't boggling already, that is just the bare minimum expenses you need to pay on a monthly and an yearly basis to maintain, upkeep, and hold your property so that you can reap the benefits of capital growth. But if you're not ready for all these expenses, all these bills to come in your mail, for your property manager to message you about, for maintenance requests, then maybe you aren't cut out to invest in property, and maybe you aren't ready to be a landlord. And by the way, guys, this is just one property I'm talking about. When you have 3 properties, 4 properties, 5 properties, trust me, you'll be getting an email almost every single week. But if you do it right, if you maintain your bills right, if you talk to your property manager and let them handle things appropriately, it's a lot more manageable. But most people, most mom and dad investors, most adults can't even handle 1 or 2 properties, and then they sink themselves out of the game. Investing in property is a long-term thing, and you have to be able to manage the expenses, have a good mindset to being able to hold these properties, because let me tell you, it's not as easy as some might think, and it's not as easy as it might be proposed by buyer's agents. You don't just simply buy a property and then it goes up $200,000 and you sit there pretty. No, you have around $50,000 worth of expenses based on this spreadsheet here. Now, of course, you do also have your rental income to offset that property, which means in this instance, you're about negative 22K or so per year. And I'm recording this post budget, which means that it's no longer, you don't get negative gearing. Now, of course, if you buy in a good location with better rental yields, you have less of a negative cash flow, and that is okay. However, you still need to understand, as a landlord, as an investor, these are the things that you need to be prepared for when investing in property. Not only the acquisition cost, but all the other costs that come with it after that. And by the way, you need to be prepared for a major roof damage, a bathroom repair, a tile popping out, etc. There's 1,000,000,001 things that can go wrong with the property that you need to factor in when investing. It's not sunshine and rainbows, guys. It is a business. You run it like a business. You run it like a smart businessman. It's not stocks where you just put it in the market and you just sit back and relax and let it go up. Now, with property, of course, you get the art of leverage, which helps you explode your capital growth over the long term. But there are risks associated with it. Now, if you haven't already, and even after watching that entire 10-minute spiel of why you should invest in property, then then you want to jump in the private community to avoid silly mistakes and make sure you're investing in the right location so you get the good rental return, you get the good capital growth, that you aren't investing and pouring tons of money into the wrong asset from the wrong property, because every time you're in the wrong asset or in the wrong location, that is opportunity cost for you to make hundreds of thousands of dollars. So that's where you jump into the private community, where we have suburb watch list breakdowns, where I can break down properties for you. I can assess the deal, provide you feedback, and help you to the right path so you make the right decisions going forward. It literally costs $40 a month, guys. It is an absolute steal for the amount of value you get out of this community, the resources, the templates, and the knowledge and the private mentorship. No one does it like me. Don't hesitate any longer. This is the best buying opportunity we have seen over the past 5 years. Jump into the community, guys, and get the help you need. But let's get back into the video. Now, let's talk about something else, guys, right? When it comes to property investment, not everything is sunshine and rainbows. You are having a tenant in your property, and oftentimes you have bad tenants that can destroy, demolish, or damage your property or leave your property vacant. And it's a story we hear more often than we would like to. And even though we try to do right by the tenant and have a good property for them to rent out and enjoy, sometimes they damage it, sometimes they leave it randomly, and sometimes they can have huge unpaid bills in terms of actual rent payments. So this is where insurance, home insurance, building insurance is so important, guys, right? I want you to take a minute before you invest in property. Take 5 minutes, go search up horror stories of tenants destroying landlords' properties. Have a read of them, because I want you to understand the risks associated with investing in property, because if you're not aware of it, you're going to be in for a rude shock. Now, yes, there are things you can do that can mitigate issues and things like this, and having the right insurance in place, having the right property manager to vet the tenant is so important. You still always need to be prepared for the unexpected. You just never know. And I want to leave that as a second point there. Now, the last point I want to make is that when people invest in property, it really should be for the long term, right? Because if you invest in property, your property is likely going to be negatively geared for a good couple of years, sometimes even 5 to 7 to even 10 years if you're buying in not a great location. In fact, when we look at this property sheet calculator, if I put a $700,000 property at a 20% deposit, $500 a week rent, at a rental growth rate of around 3% with an interest rate of 7%, and with about $40,000 in an offset account, just as an example, your property is still not going to be positively geared after 10 years, which is pretty bad because you're buying in the wrong location. And this is a risk that some investors face at the moment because they've bought in the wrong locations at very low yields, and they aren't prepared for this. They didn't get told about this. But if you buy in better locations that have better rental growth, you start off at a high yield base, then yes, your property can become positively geared, or it becomes much more manageable after several years. Now, yes, you're still in the negative for quite a bit, and I think this is the thing that investors sometimes don't appreciate enough, because you need to run your analysis carefully to see how long your property could be negative for and when it could turn positive. And so you're always putting money into this machine to make sure it's trudging along, to make sure that you're able to hold the asset going forward. Now, yes, along the way, you could be refinancing, you could go on a better rate, interest rates can drop, your rental growth might be even stronger, you might have more in your offset account, and therefore your property becomes positively geared quicker. There are always exceptions to the case, but what I want to say to investors and to landlords who aren't prepared properly is that when you invest into a property, especially a house, if you're buying on less than 5%, 4.5% yields, your property is going to be negatively geared for quite a bit of time before it becomes neutral or positive. And that is assuming you don't refinance or take equity out. So you really have to understand what you're getting yourself into. So I've hopefully you've sat through the entire video and you understand exactly why you shouldn't be investing in property. But after all this, if you do believe in property as a long-term growth asset, you do believe in the power of leverage because it does work, and you do believe that you have the right tools, the borrowing capacity, and the deposit to invest into property, and all you need is someone to help you strategize and pick the right location to invest into, jump into the private community, because that is where I can help you pick the right locations to invest into. I can review the deals that you're investing into, and I can provide practical and proven guidance. So till next time, thank you very much, guys.